The FBI's footprint has gotten so freaking big, and the biggest problem the FBI has come out of its intel shops. I'd break that component out of it. I'd shut down the FBI Hoover building on day one and reopening the next day as a museum of the deep state. And I'd take the 7,000 employees that work in that building and send them across America to chase down criminals. Go be cops. You're cops. Go be cops.
This is Donald Trump's nominee to lead the FBI, Kash Patel.
So this guy is known for being one of these deep state conspiracy theorists.
Yeah.
The deep state runs everything.
Even though he's in part of the deep state.
How does the deep state run everything if you are in power? You know what I mean?
I don't think anything, none of it makes sense. It's just like sounds good, you know?
Right. Like, what is like, how could you say that there's conspiracy against you if you are the one?
Feel like a supermajority?
Right.
And the courts?
Yeah.
The Gucci Turban podcast, hosted by Nimesh Patel and Asif, have some thoughts on the pick.
Excuse me. The one thing we learned in the Trump administration the first go around is we got to put in all America patriots top to bottom. And we got them for law enforcement. We got them for intel collection. We got them for offensive operations. We got them for DOD, CIA, everywhere. And the one thing we will do that they never will do is we will follow the facts and the law and go to courts of law and correct these justices and lawyers who have been prosecuting these cases based on politics and actually issuing them as lawfare. We will go out and find the conspirators, not just in government, but in the media. Yes, we're going to come after the people in the media who lied about American citizens, who helped Joe Biden rig presidential elections. We're going to come after you. Whether it's criminally or civilly, we'll figure that out. But yeah, we're putting you all on notice. And Steve, this is why they hate us. This is why we're tyrannical. This is why we're dictators.
Patel said this on Steve Bannon's show, which warranted this response from the comedians.
That's the problem with representation. You have to have it both ways. Like, you have a good brown person doing something. For every good brown person doing something, you're going to have a bad, evil brown person doing something.
The thing about representation, especially if you're a South Asian person, that's interesting to me is that, like, if you think about the subcontinent, it's all brown people f***ing over other brown people. Mm-hmm. Like, it's a super unequal society, and it's just built on the people who are powerful taking advantage of people who are weak.
Shout out to Gautam Adani. We see you last week's episode.
Shout out to the corrupt politicians that get $265 million to do your job. I don't know. But then here, it's like, we're just happy that any brown person becomes... Even though they're like subjugating us, we're just like happy that they look like us.
Yeah, because that means they won't come after us. That's what the real hope is. But no, Kashyap.
This guy, Crazy Eyes Magoo over here, is definitely going to come after you.
Kashyap's definitely coming after us.
They nailed it about representation, didn't they? It's a truthful justification for how many feel on the pick.
What's the solution? In my opinion, the solution is sending Donald Trump back to the White House, of course. But it's going in with a full suite of personnel and the levers of purse strings that have to be snatched back from these government gangsters so that they are reminded that they work for us. And the other thing I talk about in my book, and people aren't going to like this, but we got to start impeaching judges. The last check that we have on our Constitution used to be the federal judiciary. And now we've seen them weaponized against Jan 6, against GJT, and against so many other people because they dared to vote for someone they disliked. These people are acting unconstitutionally, and Congress must impeach them when we have both houses of Congress back, hopefully in 2024. That is a drastic measure. And me as a former public defender and prosecutor, I didn't think I'd ever say that because I was like, judges are great. They wear the robe, they do the right thing. But now you look at any case that Donald Trump's been charging, and almost every judge, except one, is handling this thing as if they were not a judge, but they were a political terrorist.
This is obviously a red alert moment. Asif and Nimesh are basically clinging to one feeling that I've seen circulated a lot, but really it should not be gaining steam.
I don't think
nothing good is going to come of this. This guy is on record saying all the crazy stuff that you've said. And just so people know, the FBI has killed a lot of civil rights leaders. Most of them, in fact.
Yeah.
Or they were a party to, or the party, either way. So that can't be good.
What we can hope for is that this administration will be in too much disarray to actually do any of the things they want to get done.
One of, well, let the cards fall where they may. We've seen the previous Trump administration. The difference is the safeguards. Those who had a minimal slither of a moral fabric in their approach, they are no longer there.
In October of 2020, he issued a sweeping declassification order for every Russiagate document and every single Hillary Clinton document. Then on the way out of the White House, he issued further declassification orders, declassifying whole sets of documents. And this is a key fact that most Americans are missing. President Trump, as the sitting president, is the unilateral authority for declassification. He can literally stand over a set of documents and say, these are now declassified. And that is done with definitive action immediately. The fact that the bureaucrats at NARA who referred, remember, the National Archives are the ones that referred this to the Department of Justice, but they, the same principal, failed to refer Hillary Clinton to the Department of Justice when they got their hands on the classified emails from those servers. And switching gears a little bit to the national
Clinton.
Well done to the fine folks at the Majority Report for putting into simple terms what we just heard on another front.
I mean, can you imagine Kash explaining to Stephen Miller his family's history? So they were from Africa, but you're Indian. And then they were in Canada, and then you got here?
Yeah, let me see.
It would break his brain. It would break his mind.
Okay, this is actually a funny thought. How would Stephen Miller, who was found to be deeply appreciative of white nationalism in leaked emails, feel about working side by side with Kash Patel? Well, time will tell, won't it?
Well, I think that these Republican senators and everybody who is familiar with the name Kash Patel also know the danger that he poses. And that is because it is a well-known thing in these inner circles by anyone who worked with Kash. And I worked with Kash in the White House. I was Vice President Mike Pence's counterterrorism advisor. So I had to coordinate with Kash a lot. Kash Patel is a delusional liar. Let me just be very clear about that. And he would lie about intelligence. He would lie about making things up on operations. I think Mark Esper has talked about that as well, where he put the lives of Navy SEALs at risk in an operation when it came to Nigeria. These are things that actually were happening in real time when he was in the role of CT coordinator in the White House. And I know this because at some point I realized that I needed to double check Kash's work to make sure that I wasn't misinforming Mike Pence by relying on his word. So I had to go around him. And this is a guy who openly has contempt for people in national security, for people especially at DOJ and the FBI. He made open comments like this. And so I think, there is a little bit of fear here from people where they know that someone like Kash Patel is fully capable of just doing partisan investigations, whatever it takes. It will be insane if he becomes the director of the FBI.
Take it from this fellow Republican to call out those in MAGA, with Patel being the main subject, as to how extreme they are and the policies they would put forth.
How disappointed are his parents that he refuses to go by Kashyap?
No, his parents are happy. They're the happiest people in the world, I guarantee you. They're super proud their son was a lawyer. He worked in the government. And now he works for the president. Now he's the director of the FBI. Look, and then you know what? If your son went to Harvard Law School, and then boom, a raid shows up in his house.
Right, he's gonna just swat people.
Yeah, he's gonna swat all the people that his parents compared him to when he was growing up in Long Island. If you're an Indian guy who's in your 40s in Long Island from Garden City, and you went to like a top 5 law school, you are screwed.
Yes. The Kashyap revenge tour.
Yeah, the revenge tour. You are done.
Change your phone number. Leave the country. Kashyap is coming.
He's coming after you first.
Did you not pay taxes on like one thing in 2022? You think Kashyap is going to do some tax?
He's already doing. He has his own 501c3.
Oh yeah, raising money to support patriots.
Yeah, he has an actual charity that supports patriotism. So, which is clearly a way for him to pay his parents a salary.
Pramod
with his corruption
Pramod
money.
and Vinod are getting paid.
Yo, they're getting paid. They are getting paid. His parents must be super proud. I think, I don't know. I mean, a lot of Indian parents are actually apolitical, and they're just happy if their kids quote unquote successful in any way, shape, or form, I don't see the nuance.
No. All right, that's enough on Kash.
Unfortunately, though, it's not until we reach the confirmation hearings and which Republicans have enough of a spine to stand up for what's right. We shall see. Hey, I appreciate you watching. Now, if you can, please do become a channel member by going to youtube.com/TYT Sports and clicking the join button. If that's too much for you, you can just go to tyt.com/join to become a member. It helps all of us out here at the Young Turks and keeps our network afloat. In addition, you could follow me on my socials on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Appreciate the love. Have a great day.
So this is the best I've ever looked, and the POTUS is calling me. Mr. President!
You want to put that on speaker for us, or what?
Mr. President!
You are a great fighter, man. I'll tell you. You make it so easy. I don't know how the hell you do that. Congratulations. I wanted to watch that fight tonight. I wanted to watch it. You were great.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. You gave me the dragon energy when you shook my hand on Sunday at your rally, and it doesn't matter if King Kong was in front of me. I was not going to lose after getting to shake your hand and beat your rally.
You weren't going to lose. Well, he's a strong-looking guy, too. He's a tough guy. He's a great fighter. He was a champ, and that was easy work, relatively easy work for you. I'm proud of you, man.
So this clown is back in the news.
God bless America. God bless the Trumps. God bless. We're about to get the greatest president back in office. It's going to be the greatest 4 years in history. I'm so excited. This means so much to me. We're going to have world peace. We're going to have closed borders. We're going to have inflation down. This money that I made tonight is going to go farther now, so.
After losing his recent bout against Joaquin Buckley via a third-round TKO, certified MAGA stooge Colby Covington couldn't help himself from shouting out dear leader Donald Trump. And upon his return home, he revived one of his favorite justifications for his failures.
I'm going to let this fuel me. I'm going to get a full training camp. Came on short notice. This is for the company. This is for the fans. This wasn't a full training camp. I was campaigning with Trump, getting him ready. I wasn't even in the training room. I came off the couch on 2.5 weeks notice. So, it's a tough ending to go like that.
You could not create a better encapsulation of everything it means to be a Trump supporter than Covington and the comment he made. Who needs humility and taking accountability for your losing performance once again when you could deflect the blame onto campaigning for Trump as well as the doctor who stopped the fight because you were getting beaten so badly and made the case that they were saving your eyelid? Covington is a perfect example to gain insight into how the mind of a MAGA cult member works. And just like Trump, any successes and failures he has are directly tied to his relationship with Trump, either because of Trump himself, who propelled Covington to a victory, or because the shadowy forces working against Trump and by extension Covington actively prevented him from achieving his goals.
The guy built his living through capitalism. He wasn't given anything. He didn't take any handouts. No, he earned it the hard way. He earned the American dream through blood, sweat, and tears, through putting sacrifice out there, working hard, and achieving dreams because he believed in his vision. So just being in the same room with it, Lara, honestly, I wouldn't have been world champion. I wouldn't have been able to accomplish what I did and what I'm still doing without having his guidance and having his energy and just his charisma that he kind of passed along to me.
Case in point, after being named interim welterweight champ back in 2021, Covington gushed over Trump to his daughter-in-law and potential future Florida Senator, Lara Trump, saying he couldn't have done it without their support. Now, let's fast forward to his loss against Leon Edwards in 2023.
You got more total strikes, same amount to the head. You were in control much
5
longer
minutes
than he
more
was.
Control time.
I mean, I didn't see the fight, and I'm sorry, but I couldn't make it. But I mean, it looks like you won on paper.
This should tell you all you need to know, but let's continue.
Do you think now that you're a Trump supporter outwardly, this cost you fights?
I do believe that. I think they stacked the deck against us because they don't want we the people to have control of this country again. And that's what Trump stands for. He stands for democracy. He stands for freedom. So they're going to do everything they can to keep us down, from shadow banning us online, even if we're saying the truth. They're not going to let us, they're going to make us censored, not let the people see that. If it's in a judging position in a fight or any type of athletic sporting event, they're going to stack the deck against us. So
just like his dear leader, Covington would rather play victim to some broad, deep-seated conspiracy instead of doing the self-reflection he desperately needs. And Jesse Waters and other right-wing propaganda outlets are more than willing to feed into this utterly pathetic attitude.
The double vaccine commercial going around. So he sold his soul out to the Pfizer, to the pharmaceutical gods.
Yeah, it's disgusting. It's despicable what Travis Kelce has done. How ironic that NFL's going through some of the worst ratings they've ever had in history, and then all of a sudden they're going to get one of the most famous people on the earth that's going to start having a fake relationship with one of their players, and then they're putting that same player in a position to be an advocate for a double shot. I'm against vaccines, but I'm pro-choice, so I think you should be able to decide what you want to do with what's healthy for your body. It's just irresponsible by Travis Kelce. You know, it's no mistake that he's having some of the worst career stats that he's ever had right now, because all the negative cloud, the dark cloud surrounding him. He sold his soul to the devil, and it's sad to see. Travis Kelce is nothing more than a shill, and he's going downhill fast. Go woke, go broke.
In addition to all the delusions and conspiracy theories he wants to spew, because Fox News, Newsmax, and other right-wing outlets know their audience responds to those topics.
It's not fair, and I feel bad that people like this are undermining our Constitution, our First Amendment. Freedom of speech. Why are you trying to muzzle people? Why is it not okay to have a different opinion than someone and agree to disagree on things? It just shows how disgusting and vile the left is, and the cancel culture. That needs to go, man. The cancel culture, I'm so sick of that, man. I wish they would show up at my doorstep. I wish they would try and cancel me, but you can't cancel me, because Dana White and the UFC, they don't muzzle their fighters. We can say whatever we want and agree to disagree.
We got to cancel culture. How does that sound? Hey, real quick, Colby.
I like that, Greg.
Following the lead of Donald Trump's never-ending list of sycophants, Covington falls in line with MAGA, regardless of whether Trump returns the favor or not.
I don't know if you saw, but a couple months ago, he said, I think in August, he said that Khabib was his favorite fighter. I don't know if you have any reaction, any comment on that.
He didn't say that Khabib was his favorite fighter. He just asked who are some of your favorite fighters, and he had saw Khabib the weekend before, so he's giving a shout out to him. We want good relations with Russia, so it made sense to go that route. We want peace in the Middle East. We want peace around the world. We don't want Russia going after Ukraine. We need more peace. So I'm happy. He has a lot of great fighters. He has a lot of favorite fighters that he likes.
As expected, Donald Trump did not waste a second of publicity while attending the annual Army-Navy football game, breaking out the classic salute to the crowd during the national anthem, which is supposed to be reserved for only service members in military dress, but that's par for the course with Trump. He was joined by an absolute nightmare crew, consisting of J.D. Vance, Speaker Mike Johnson, alleged Russian asset Tulsi Gabbard, alleged abuser and Secretary of Defense nominee Pete Hegseth, MAGA stooges, Rep. Wesley Hunt, Pennsylvania Senator-elect and hedge fund manager Dave McCormick, and of course Elon. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis was also present, as was acquitted killer-turned-right-wing hero Daniel Penny, who was celebrated by Trump and his inner circle for showing the American public what type of violence is encouraged and tolerated by the state. Trump's appearance at the Army-Navy game, like any of his past and future appearances at sporting events, are nothing more than pieces of propaganda to launder his image and reinforce the false notion that our country's oligarchs have the American people's best interests at heart.
One person that we haven't talked about is Elon Musk is also in that box. And he's being shown once again as a close ally of the president and a really rich guy. And this is a way of doing several things, one of which is for the president to once again show that, look, fall behind me on my nominees, senators. You'll get a Christmas card, but also what you don't want to do is defy me, because I've got Elon Musk here and he can fund primaries against you. I mean, that is sort of a backdrop to this conversation. If you don't kind of fall into line.
This is what it all comes down to. Rich and powerful people clinging to Trump for exclusive access to government insiders, first dibs on privatization projects, and lucrative government contracts, plus, most importantly, unfettered political power to keep the racket going. Which brings us to this screenshot showing everything wrong with our country in one photo. And Trump's smirk says it all. When conservatives say they want limited government or a small government, what they're really talking about is handing over control of necessary government services like the post office and education system, just to name a few, of course, and the profits that subsequently follow to members of the ruling class to further enrich themselves and solidify their class positions. The AI, data mining, software, and defense contractor company Palantir and its founders / current board members like Peter Thiel, Stephen Cohen, and Alex Karp could very well be the next company that completely blurs the lines between private business and the federal government. For years now, Palantir has been raking in hundreds upon hundreds of millions of dollars in government contracts, like in 2014 when they were given a $41 million contract to build and facilitate a software program that gives ICE agents access to massive swaths of data from government intelligence networks, all in order to track potential undocumented immigrants and create legal cases against them in deportation and removal proceedings. Spencer Woodman also reports in this 2017 article that this software was instrumental in the notorious workplace immigration raids from the Obama administration. In 2021, Palantir was handed a staggering $800 million contract from the Army to use their Gotham software platform, which uses data analysis and AI tools for defense decision-making, in their words. That could mean tracking and predicting enemy troop movements, or predictive policing, depending on who is buying the service. Earlier this year, Palantir was given a $480 million contract from the Pentagon for their AI-driven Maven smart system that uses data to identify points of interest and potential strike targets while making intelligence analysts' work more efficient. And just months ago,
taking a look now at Palantir, the company winning a $100 million contract with the U.S. military to extend their AI tool Maven smart system to more military personnel. Obviously, this is a big one here for Palantir going forward. Lots of questions about what exactly this entails. Now, this platform that I just mentioned, the Maven Smart System, helps create a picture of the same battlefield on thousands of digital screens simultaneously. So you talk about the push here from the government further into the AI world and further using AI tools in order to better target some of their targets or whatever they're using it for the U.S. military personnel, obviously giving them more access to Palantir's digital offerings.
They were just handed an additional $100 million contract to extend to use of their AI Maven system.
Palantir, known as Maven Smart System, it is used by the military to help identify targets in potential airstrike zones. It was used in the Middle East earlier this year. We have some reporting from Bloomberg talking about other instances in which the tech has been used in Ukraine, Iraq, Sudan, and Yemen as well.
As our military continues to detach the human element from warfare even further, while continuing to reward and enrich the small club of people profiting off of death and human suffering.
In the fallout from the murder investigation of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson, the office of New York Governor Kathy Hochul is convening a safety summit tomorrow between nervous business leaders and law enforcement. CNN has learned the safety concerns among executives are so widespread, New York State may create a special hotline just for CEOs to call in threats.
New York Governor Kathy Hochul is seriously floating setting up a hotline for worried CEOs to report apparent threats against them. And if that isn't one of the most American things we've ever heard, then we don't know what else is. The legend himself, Ken Klippenstein, writes that Hochul's meeting with New York business leaders signals that law enforcement and other officials want to elevate the shooting of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson to an act of domestic terrorism, despite no other concrete, credible threats levied against other CEOs since. Look no further than the arrest and felony charge a Florida mother named Brianna Boston is facing after allegedly telling a Blue Cross Blue Shield employee over the phone, quote, delay, deny, depose, you people are next. After having her claim denied, Boston was charged with threats to conduct a mass shooting or act of terrorism and was given the absolutely absurd bond amount of $100,000. Remember, if you're a CEO who has gotten rich off of the deaths of other human beings, or even a random civilian who acted out the violent urges of one half of the political aisle, you're celebrated and championed as a hero deserving of a lifetime of access and praise.